Richard Goodall's story begins in the quiet halls of Sullivan Elementary School in Indiana, where he worked as a janitor for over 2 decades. While most saw him as the man who kept the school clean, those who took the time to listen would hear the incredible talent he hid beneath his everyday work. Richard didn't sing for an audience or in hopes of fame, but rather for his own sense of joy. His voice became a source of solace during long, monotonous workdays, as he sang to pass the time and keep his spirits high. The students, however, didn't see him as just a janitor. They noticed something special about Richard. They noticed the power and emotion in his voice. As he mopped the floors or scrubbed the classrooms, the sound of his voice carried through the school, sparking curiosity and awe. It wasn't long before they began to encourage him to take his talent beyond the school and into the public eye, particularly on the stage of America's Got Talent. Richard had always dreamed of singing, but for years, it seemed like a distant fantasy. Working in a humble job and living a life full of challenges, he never thought he would have the opportunity to share his gift with the world. But with the encouragement of the students and the love of his fiancée Angela, Richard took a bold step. He auditioned for America's Got Talent. The audition, stepping into the spotlight. When Richard stood before the judges of America's Got Talent, it was more than just an audition. It was the culmination of years of unspoken dreams, self-doubt, and a desire to find something more. Dressed simply, Richard introduced himself to the host, Terry Crews, and explained his background. A janitor, a man who had spent much of his life cleaning schools but secretly carrying a voice capable of changing everything. Richard's journey to this point had been far from easy. He had lived through personal hardships, including the tragic loss of his first wife to cancer in 1992. That pain, which had been etched deeply in his heart, had shaped who he was today. Yet, he had managed to find new love with Angela, a woman who had stood by him through thick and thin. Despite their strong bond, Richard often grappled with guilt, feeling that moving forward with his life and love for Angela meant he was somehow abandoning his late wife's memory. But it was through singing, through the emotional power of music, that Richard found his way forward. When Richard began to sing "Don't Stop Believin'" by Journey, the room fell into a stunned silence. His deep, resonant voice filled the air, and the judges sat in shock. This was a voice that had been hidden away for so long, an incredible gift wrapped up in the life of an everyday man. The energy in the room shifted. The audience, once unsure, suddenly felt the weight of Richard's talent. This wasn't just a performance. It was the opening of a door that Richard had never thought he could walk through. The song choice wasn't accidental. "Don't Stop Believin'" held deep significance for Richard. The lyrics resonated with him on a personal level, reflecting the struggles and perseverance he had experienced throughout his life. The music was his message to the world. No matter how hard life gets, no matter how long you've waited for your dreams to come true, you must keep going. In that moment, Richard wasn't just singing a song, he was telling his story, pouring his heart into every note. The applause that followed was deafening, but the real moment of validation came when Richard received the coveted golden buzzer, sending him straight to the live shows. This was the turning point in his life. The golden buzzer was not only a stamp of approval from the judges, but a reminder that dreams can come true, no matter where you start. It was the validation Richard had always longed for, and it confirmed that his persistence and hard work had paid off. It wasn't just a step forward in the competition, it was a validation of his entire journey. The emotional journey, triumph over tragedy. For Richard, his journey on America's Got Talent was more than just an opportunity to showcase his singing. It was also a tribute to those who had supported him throughout his life, especially his late wife. In his second performance, Richard chose to sing a song by Michael Bolton, one of his favorite R&B artists. This performance carried immense emotional weight. As he sang, Richard reflected on the life he had built with his late wife, who had always encouraged him to pursue his musical dreams. Even in the difficult days of working as a janitor, she had never stopped believing in him. Now, as Richard sang on the stage of America's Got Talent, he felt her presence beside him, her encouragement still ringing in his ears. The song was more than just a performance. It was a cathartic release of years of grief and love. The audience could feel the sincerity in every note. As Richard sang, he honored his late wife, paying tribute to the love they shared, and acknowledging the emptiness her passing had left in his life. Music, for Richard, had become a form of healing, a way to cope with his loss while also pushing forward with the love he had found again in Angela. It was also a way for Richard to acknowledge his growth as a person. Despite the heartache he had endured, Richard had found a new chapter in his life. His relationship with Angela was built on love, support, and understanding. Angela had been with him through the difficult days and was now by his side, cheering him on as he stepped onto one of the biggest stages in the world. Despite their age difference, Angela had never let that matter. She loved Richard for who he was, and that love was what had carried him through the darkest times. The rise to fame, a dream. Realized. After receiving the golden buzzer, Richard's life began to change rapidly. His story resonated with viewers across the country, and messages of support flooded in from people who were inspired by his perseverance. Richard became a symbol of hope for those who had given up on their own dreams. His story reminded people that no matter how old you are, no matter what you've been through, it's never too late to chase your dreams. As his performances continued, Richard's popularity grew. He became not just a contestant on America's Got Talent, but a beacon of inspiration for anyone who had ever struggled, faced loss, or doubted their ability to achieve their dreams. People saw in him a reflection of their own struggles, and they cheered him on as he moved through each round of the competition. His talent, combined with his authentic and heartfelt performances, made him a favorite among fans. But even as his star began to rise, Richard never forgot where he came from. He remained humble, grateful for every opportunity that came his way. His journey was not just about becoming a famous singer. It was about honoring the people who had believed in him, especially his late wife and Angela. Music was his way of giving back to them, of showing them that their belief in him had been worth it. The support of his community, a GoFundMe and band gigs. Despite his newfound fame, Richard's journey was far from easy. His job as a janitor had paid a modest income, and the costs of traveling to shows and pursuing his music career were overwhelming. But the support from his community and fans helped alleviate some of those pressures. A local man named Chris Burton started a GoFundMe campaign to help cover Richard's travel and performance costs. The campaign raised over $15,000 from 382 people, showing just how much Richard's story had touched hearts across the country. With the financial support, Richard was able to focus on his music without the constant worry about how he would afford it. His band started booking gigs every weekend, and Richard felt as though he had finally found his true calling. What had once been a distant dream was now a reality. The joy he felt performing in front of a live audience was indescribable. For Richard, every gig was more than just a performance. It was a celebration of the years of hard work, the sacrifices, and the emotional journey that had brought him to this point. Music as healing. The power of music and love. For Richard, music was more than just a career. It was a form of therapy. It allowed him to process his grief, connect with others, and find healing. His voice carried the weight of his experiences, from the loss of his first wife to the joy of finding love again with Angela. With every performance, Richard shared a piece of himself with the world, and that authenticity resonated with audiences. His music wasn't just about notes and lyrics. It was about the emotions behind the song, the life he had lived, and the love he had for the people who had supported him along the way. Through his journey, Richard discovered that love and music have the power to heal. They have the power to bring people together, to lift each other up, and to help us overcome even the darkest moments of our lives. For Richard, this was the ultimate lesson. No matter what happens in life, no matter how many times we fall, we can always find a way to rise again through love and music. Conclusion. A legacy of inspiration. Richard Goodall's story is one of triumph over adversity. A janitor with a hidden talent, he rose to fame not just because of his incredible voice, but because of the heart and soul behind his music. His journey is a testament to the power of perseverance, love, and the belief that it's never too late to follow your dreams. Today, Richard stands as an inspiration to millions of people, proving that no matter how old you are, no matter what your background is, you can achieve greatness if you believe in yourself and never give up. His story is a reminder that our dreams are worth pursuing, no matter how impossible they may seem. The world may not always see us for who we truly are, but with the right support, determination, and passion, we can rise above it all and make our dreams come true.